The morning sky over Alteris IV shone with three suns. The crystal towers of the main city caught the light and sent rainbow colors dancing across the ground. This was the home of the Lemurians, a peaceful race who had never known war. Sela sat at her window, recording the day's events as she had done for many years as the city's historian. Her skin glowed a soft blue as she worked, her four-fingered hands moving quickly over her crystal tablet. "Another peaceful day begins," she wrote, but she was wrong. In the sky above, strange dark ships appeared. They did not announce themselves. They did not ask permission to enter Lemurian space. They simply came, silent and threatening. Sela looked up from her work. Something felt different. The air seemed heavy. When she looked out her window, she saw them, black shapes blocking the suns. "Unknown vessels have entered our atmosphere," came the calm voice of the city's central communication system. "Please remain calm while we establish contact." The Lemurians had no word for invasion in their language. They had never needed one. For thousands of years, they had developed art, science, and philosophy without ever facing a serious threat. Their world had no dangerous predators. Their society had no weapons. Milo, the lead communicator, sent message after message to the ships. "Welcome to Alteris IV. We are the Lemurians. We come in peace and offer friendship." No answer came. Instead, the first silent projectiles fell from the sky. They hit the crystal towers with terrible precision. Buildings that had stood for centuries shattered like glass. The sound was deafening. Sela watched in horror as her beautiful city began to fall. She had no concept for what was happening. No word for attack existed in her mind. "Why?" she asked aloud, her voice shaking. "Why would anyone do this?" The central communication system switched to emergency mode. "All citizens must move to the underground caverns immediately. This is not a drill." As Lemurians rushed to safety, their leaders made a desperate decision. They sent a message, not just to the attacking ships, but to every corner of the galaxy. "This is Alteris IV. We are under attack by unknown forces. We have no defenses. We have no weapons. We need help. Please, anyone who can hear us. We are dying." The message traveled across vast distances, reaching planets that the Lemurians didn't even know existed. Most powerful species received it and did nothing. They had their own concerns. The Galactic Concord, the ruling body of advanced civilizations, debated helping but decided against it. "The Lemurians are too peaceful for this galaxy," they said. "It is unfortunate but natural." But far away, on a small blue planet called Earth, humans heard the cry for help. They listened to the fear in those alien voices, and unlike the others, they decided to act. As Sela huddled with her people in the dark caverns beneath their ruined city, she had no way of knowing that salvation was coming from the most unlikely place. The humans were on their way, and everything was about to change. 3 months passed. The Lemurians lived in fear beneath their world. The dark ships, which they now knew belonged to the Vex Collective, continued to destroy everything on the surface. Sela kept track of the days in her journal. Food was running low. Hope was running lower. "Day 92 underground," she wrote. "No help has come. The children no longer ask when we can go home. They know there may be no home left." That same day, the ground above them shook. The Lemurians huddled together, thinking it was another attack. But the communication system suddenly came alive with an unexpected message. "Attention, people of Alteris IV. This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Defense Force, ship * Defiance *. We receive your distress call. We are here to help." The Lemurians couldn't believe what they were hearing. Someone had actually answered their cry. Milo, now one of the few leaders left, responded with shaking hands. "This is Alteris IV. Are you really here to help us?" "Affirmative," came the human voice. "We need to meet. Can you safely send representatives to these coordinates?" Hours later, Sela found herself part of a small group climbing to the surface for the first time in months. What they saw broke their hearts. The beautiful crystal cities were gone. In their place stood smoking ruins and strange machines that dug into the ground. And there, waiting at the meeting point, were the humans. Sela had never seen such creatures before. They were shorter than Lemurians, with no glow to their skin. They wore dark suits that Sela later learned were called armor. They carried objects that she would soon know as weapons. Captain Reyes stepped forward. She removed her helmet, revealing a face with 2 eyes, a small nose, and short black hair. She looked so different from the Lemurians with their 4 eyes and smooth blue skin. "I'm sorry we couldn't come sooner," Reyes said. Her voice was kind but strong. The journey was long. Milo spoke for the Lemurians. "Why did you come?" "The Galactic Concord ignored us. They said we were too peaceful to survive." Reyes frowned. "The Concord contacted us too. They advised us not to interfere, said it wasn't our business." "Then why are you here?" Sela asked. Reyes looked at each of the Lemurians. "Where we come from. The strong protect the weak. It's not about what you can do for us. It's about what we should do for you." The Lemurians didn't understand. This concept was new to them. "But you're risking your lives," Milo said. "We have nothing to offer in return." A tall human man next to Reyes spoke up. "That's not how helping works." For the first time in months, Sela felt something besides fear. It was a small feeling, but it grew as she looked at these strange humans who had traveled across the stars just because they heard someone crying for help. It was hope. "Come," Reyes said. "Show us where your people are sheltering. We need to make plans." As they walked back to the caves, Sela noticed how the humans kept looking around, alert and ready. They were nothing like the peaceful Lemurians. They were warriors. And now, they were the Lemurians' only chance to survive. The humans quickly set up a base inside the largest Lemurian cave. They brought strange equipment and supplies from their ship. Captain Reyes called it a secure perimeter. Lieutenant Commander Ekura Tanaka, a serious-looking human with calm eyes, began teaching some Lemurians basic defense moves. At first, the Lemurians could not understand why anyone would want to hurt another living being. "I cannot strike you," said Talon, Sela's brother, when Tanaka asked him to practice a simple blocking move. "It goes against everything we believe." Tanaka nodded. "I understand. But sometimes protecting those you love means standing between them and danger." This idea was new to the Lemurians. They had never needed to protect anyone before. Meanwhile, the humans were amazed by Lemurian technology. Though their cities were destroyed, the Lemurians had saved their most important knowledge crystal banks. "This is incredible," said Dr. Maya Wong, the human scientist, as she examined a floating crystal that powered an entire section of the caves. "Your energy systems are centuries ahead of ours." Sela watched the humans with great interest. She wrote in her journal every night, recording their strange ways. "The humans sleep in shifts," she wrote. "Some always stay awake, watching for danger. They call it standing guard. This concept is unknown to us, but I see how it has kept their species alive." As days passed, a trade began between the two species. The Lemurians taught humans about their advanced technology, how to use crystal computing, how to manipulate energy without waste, how to build engines that could bend gravity itself. In return, the humans taught the Lemurians something they had never needed before, how to survive against those who wished to harm them. "You don't have to become violent," Captain Reyes explained to a group of worried Lemurians, "but you need to understand violence to protect yourselves from it." One evening, Sela sat with Captain Reyes near the cave entrance. Together, they watched the 3 moons of Alteris IV rise over the damaged landscape. "Why do humans help others even when it puts them in danger?" Sela asked. "The Galactic Concord says this is irrational behavior." Reyes smiled. "Perhaps it is, but it's also what makes us human." "The Vex will come for you too," Sela said quietly. They know you're here now. We know. Rice checked her weapon, a movement that had become familiar to Sela. That's why we're preparing. A young Lumerian child approached them, holding something she had made. A small crystal figure of a human and a Lumerian standing side by side. For you, the child said, giving it to Reyes. Because you came when we called. Reyes's eyes grew wet, something Sela had never seen before. The human called it tears. Later that night, alarms rang through the caves. The Vex have found one of the outer entrances. The first test of the unlikely alliance was about to begin. The alarm echoed through the caves. Everyone moved quickly, just as they had practiced. The Lumerians went to the inner chambers while the humans prepared to fight. Stay back, Lieutenant Tanaka told the frightened Lumerians. We'll handle this. But Talon, Sela's brother, stepped forward. I want to help. You've been training me. Captain Rice looked at him with surprise, then nodded. Stay behind us. Watch and learn. The Vex had broken through the outer cave entrance. They looked like tall, thin shadows with too many arms. They moved as one, their minds connected like parts of a single body. The humans fired their weapons, which now glowed with Lumerian crystal technology. Sela had helped them combine human weapons with Lumerian energy systems. The new weapons fired beams of bright light that cut through the Vex like nothing they had seen before. They're retreating, shouted one of the human soldiers. No, said Reyes. They're adapting. Watch their movement pattern. She was right. The Vex were learning, changing their approach. They split into smaller groups, coming from different directions. Tanaka, take your team left. Rodriguez, right flank, Rice commanded. The humans moved with perfect coordination, like they had done this many times before. Sela watched from a safe distance, recording everything. She had never seen such organized action. The humans seemed to know what to do without speaking, each person filling a role in their defense. When a Vex broke through and almost reached the civilian area, Talon surprised everyone. He used a blocking move Tanaka had taught him, then pushed the creature back with strength no one knew he had. After an hour of fighting, the remaining Vex retreated. The humans had won this battle, but everyone knew the war had just begun. They'll be back with more, Rice said, checking on her injured soldiers. 3 humans had been hurt, but none seriously. Later that day, a new ship arrived in orbit around Alteris IV. It wasn't human or Vex. It was from the Galactic Concord. A large reptilian being named Thraknar came to the caves. He wore elaborate robes and looked down at the humans with cold eyes. Captain Rice, he said in a deep voice, the Concord has sent me to observe. You were advised not to intervene in natural selection processes. Rice stood tall, though she was much smaller than Thraknar. With respect, Ambassador, there's nothing natural about genocide. The strong survive. The weak perish. This is the way of the universe, Thraknar said. Not our universe, Rice replied. Not while humans have a say in it. Thraknar's tongue flicked out, showing his displeasure. Your species risks much by defying Concord wisdom. There will be consequences. After he left, Sela approached Rice. Will you leave now? The Concord is powerful. Rice smiled. Some principles transcend political convenience, Sela. That night, the humans and Lumerians gathered to share a meal. Despite the danger, there was laughter. Sela realized something important. The humans had brought more than just weapons and protection. They had brought hope. A week after the first attack, the humans discovered something important. They had captured a small Vex device during the battle and finally managed to decode its signals. They're calling for reinforcements, Dr. Wong told Captain Reyes as they gathered in the command center. A lot of them. Reyes frowned. How much time do we have? 3 days, maybe 4, Dr. Wong replied. Sela watched their faces grow serious. She had learned to read human expressions. This was bad news. Later that day, a message arrived from Earth. Sela was with Captain Reyes when she received it. They want us to return home, Rice said quietly. The Galactic Concord has threatened trade sanctions against Earth if we continue to interfere. Will you go? Sela asked, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly in distress. Before Reyes could answer, Lieutenant Rodriguez rushed in. Captain, 3 ships just entered the atmosphere. They're ours. Everyone ran outside to see 3 more human ships landing near the Defiance asterisk. When the doors opened, hundreds of human soldiers walked out, carrying supplies and weapons. A tall woman with gray hair approached Reyes and saluted. Captain Sarah Chen, EDF Dauntless asterisk. We heard you might need some help. The orders from Earth, Reyes began. We received the same orders, Captain Chen said with a smile. We just decided they got lost in transmission. Funny how that happens in deep space. Talon, who had been training hard with Tanaka, asked the question everyone was thinking. Why would you risk punishment to help us? Captain Chen looked at the Lumerians gathered around. When people on Earth heard your story, how your peaceful civilization was attacked without provocation, they demanded action. Our governments might worry about politics, but ordinary humans know right from wrong. That evening, something unexpected happened. A group of 30 Lumerians approached Captain Reyes. Talon led them. We want to fight, Talon said. Not out of hatred for the Vex, but out of love for our world and for those who came to defend it. Reyes looked surprised. Are you sure? Your people have never. We have never needed to, a female Lumerian named Vala interrupted. But now we do. The humans have shown us that protecting others is sometimes necessary. That night, Sela wrote in her journal, Today I felt something new. When I think of the Vex destroying our cities, hurting our children, threatening our new human friends, I feel a warm fire inside. The humans call it anger, but it is not a destructive feeling. It makes me want to stand and fight, not run and hide. As the humans and their Lumerian volunteers prepared for battle, scouts reported massive Vex ships approaching. The coming fight would be much harder than the first. Reyes gathered everyone together. We're outnumbered, she said honestly. But we have something the Vex don't understand. We're fighting for each other, not just ourselves. Sela looked around at the determined faces, human and Lumerian alike. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. The humans and Lumerians chose Crystalline Valley for their stand against the Vex. This ancient place, with its tall crystal formations, was special to the Lumerians. The crystals could amplify their technology. If we're going to win, we need every advantage, Captain Reyes told everyone as they set up defenses. For 2 days, they prepared. Human soldiers built barriers and set up weapons. The Lumerian volunteers, now 50 strong, learned basic combat moves. They were not natural fighters, but they were quick learners. Sela walked through the camp, recording everything. She saw humans teaching Lumerians how to use simple weapons. She saw Lumerians showing humans how to activate the valley's crystal energy network. The Vex are coming, a scout reported on the 3rd morning. Many ships, thousands of them. Captain Reyes gathered the defenders. Remember your training. Remember why we're fighting. We're not just defending a planet. We're defending a way of life, a future where different species stand together against those who would destroy the peaceful. The sky darkened as Vex ships filled it. They were like black clouds blocking the suns. Their soldiers poured out, wave after wave of them. The battle began. Human weapons fired, cutting down the first Vex attackers. But more came. The Vex moved as one mind, learning quickly, adapting to human tactics. They're breaking through on the east side, shouted Lieutenant Rodriguez. Sela watched in horror as Vex soldiers overran a human defense position. 3 humans fell, their weapons silent. Then something amazing happened. Talon and 5 other Lumerians stepped forward. They raised their hands toward the tallest crystal in the valley. Energy flowed from the crystal into their bodies. Their blue skin glowed brighter than Sela had ever seen. For our home, Talon shouted. Then he did something no Lumerian had done in their entire history. He directed destructive energy outward, pushing a wave of force that threw the Vex backward. The other Lumerians followed his example. Together, they created an energy barrier that the Vex couldn't cross. Captain Chen saw the opportunity. All units, focus fire on the trapped Vex. The combined fire of human weapons destroyed the trapped Vex, but the victory was brief. More Vex were coming from all directions. We can't hold them all, Tanaka yelled as a new wave approached. It was at this moment that Ambassador Thraknar returned. His ship landed in the middle of the battlefield. When he stepped out, he looked at the humans and Lumerians fighting side by side. Captain Reyes, he called out, the Concord demands you cease this action immediately. Leave this planet now, or Earth will face severe consequences. Despite the battle raging around them, Reyes walked over to the ambassador. She was injured, bleeding from a cut on her face. With all due respect, she said, I need to ask the Lumerians what they want. She turned to Sela, who had been documenting the battle nearby. What do your people want, Sela? Should we stay or go? Sela looked at the humans who had come so far to help them, at her brother using his energy to protect others, at her home world being defended by these strange allies. Her answer would change everything. Sela looked from Captain Reyes to Ambassador Thraknar. The battle raged around them. She thought of her people hiding in caves, of the destroyed cities, of the humans who came when no one else would. We want you to stay, she said firmly. You are our friends, our allies, our hope. Thraknar's reptilian eyes narrowed. You choose unwisely. The Concord abandoned us. Sela interrupted, surprising herself with her boldness. Humans did not. Reyes nodded and turned back to her soldiers. You heard her. We stand and fight. Thraknar hissed, but returned to his ship. As he left, something unexpected happened. His ship fired, not at the humans or Lumerians, but at a large group of Vex soldiers approaching from behind. The Vex are enemies to all life. The ambassador's voice came through a communication channel. The Concord will observe. Nothing more. It wasn't much help, but it was something. The battle continued for hours. The humans showed amazing skill, changing their tactics whenever the Vex adapted. The Lumerian volunteers grew bolder, using their energy abilities in new ways. But the Vex kept coming. For every one they destroyed, 10 more appeared. We need a new plan, Captain Chen said as she joined Reyes at the command post. We can't keep fighting like this. Lieutenant Tanaka approached, limping from an injury. Captain, I have an idea. The Vex operate as a hive mind. What if we could disrupt their connection? Dr. Wong, who had been studying the captured Vex device, nodded excitedly. Yes, they communicate using a specific energy frequency. If we could broadcast an interfering signal. We would need something powerful, Reyes said. Our equipment isn't strong enough. Talon, who had been listening nearby, spoke up. The great crystal in the center of the valley. It can amplify any energy signal. We use it for our most important ceremonies. A plan formed quickly. Dr. Wong would modify their communication equipment. The Lumerians would channel its signal through the great crystal. The humans would defend them while they worked. It's dangerous, Captain Reyes warned. The Vex will realize what we're doing and focus their attack on the crystal. Then we'll need a distraction, Captain Chen said. She looked at her ship, something big enough to draw their attention. As the preparations began, news arrived from across the galaxy. Other species had heard about the human defense of Alteris IV. Some were sending ships to help. The story of humans standing against the Concord's wishes to protect a peaceful race had traveled far. Why would they help us? Sela asked when she heard the news. They don't even know us. Lieutenant Rodriguez smiled. Sometimes courage is contagious. As night fell, the Vex pulled back, regrouping for a massive attack. Everyone knew that tomorrow would decide everything. Sela found her brother Talon staring at the stars. Are you afraid? She asked. Yes, he admitted, but I learned something important from the humans. Fear doesn't mean you can't be brave. Sometimes, being afraid and acting anyway is what bravery is. Across the valley, humans and Lemurians prepared for the coming battle, their fates now completely tied together. Dawn broke over Crystalline Valley. The three sons of Alterous Ivy painted the sky in beautiful colors, but no one had time to enjoy the view. The Vex were coming. Dr. Wong worked through the night to finish the disruption device. It's ready, she told Captain Reyes, but someone will need to take it to the Great Crystal and connect it properly. I'll go, Talon volunteered. Not alone, Reyes said. I'm coming with you. As they prepared to leave, Milo, the oldest Lemurian leader, approached. He carried an ancient crystal tablet. Before you go, he said, there is something you should know about our people. Everyone gathered around as Milo activated the tablet. Images appeared, showing Lemurians fighting with energy weapons, looking fierce and strong. What is this? Sela asked, shocked. Our true history, Milo explained. Long ago, our ancestors were warriors. They fought a terrible war that nearly destroyed our world. Afterward, they chose peace. They changed themselves, their minds and bodies, to remove violent tendencies. The humans looked surprised. Captain Chen spoke first. You chose to become peaceful. It wasn't just your natural evolution. No, Milo said. We chose it. And now we must choose again. He held up a small crystal. This can temporarily reverse the changes our ancestors made. It will allow us to fight with all our natural abilities. I have made enough for all volunteers. A murmur went through the Lemurians. This was a huge decision. Why didn't you tell us this before? Sela asked. Because once you know you can be something else, you can never go back to innocence, Milo said sadly. Our peaceful nature has defined us for thousands of years, but now our survival depends on remembering how to fight. One by one, Lemurian volunteers stepped forward. Not all, but many. They each touched the crystal Milo offered. As they did, their skin color deepened, and their eyes grew brighter. Sela hesitated, then stepped forward too. When she touched the crystal, a rush of new feelings flooded her mind. Protective instincts she never knew she had suddenly felt natural. Her body felt stronger, quicker. How do you feel? Captain Reyes asked her. Like I finally understand why you came to help us, Sela replied. I feel connected to others in a way I never did before. I want to protect them. The Vex ships appeared on the horizon, more than ever before. Their black shapes blocked out the suns. It's time, Captain Chen said. She and half the human forces moved toward their ships. We'll create the distraction. The rest of you get that device to the crystal. Reyes, Talon, Sela, and a mixed team of humans and Lemurians prepared to move out with the disruption device. The Lemurians, with their new awakened abilities, moved with confidence they had never shown before. As the two groups separated, Reyes looked back at Chen. See you on the other side, Captain. Chen smiled. Count on it. The battle for Alterous IV, and perhaps the future of the galaxy, was about to begin. Captain Chen's plan worked perfectly. The human ships flew directly at the main Vex fleet, firing all weapons. The Vex turned to face this threat, just as planned. Now's our chance, Captain Reyes told her team. Move quickly. Reyes, Talon, Sela, and their group ran toward the great crystal in the center of the valley. 4 human soldiers carried the disruption device. 6 awakened Lemurians surrounded them, using their energy abilities to create a protective shield. Sela felt strange in her new awakened state. Her mind was sharper, her body stronger. She could sense the energy flowing around her and knew how to use it. It was frightening, but also exciting. Vex scouts, at 2 o'clock, a human soldier called out. A small group of Vex had spotted them. They moved with frightening speed, their many limbs carrying them across the rocky ground. Keep moving, Reyes ordered. We can't stop. Lieutenant Tanaka and two other humans turned to face the Vex, buying time for the others. Sela wanted to help them, but she knew the mission was more important. Above them, the battle in the sky was intense. Human ships darted between larger Vex vessels, firing precisely at weak points that Dr. Wong had identified. But there were so many Vex ships. 2 human vessels had already been damaged. Almost there, Talon said as they approached the great crystal. It towered above them, pulsing with ancient energy. The connection point is at the base. Just as they reached the crystal, a massive explosion shook the valley. One of the human ships had crashed into a Vex carrier, taking it down, but at a terrible cost. Captain Chen, Rise whispered, watching the fireball. Then she turned back to their mission. Let's make that sacrifice count. Dr. Wong began connecting the device to the crystal. This will take a few minutes, she said. I have to calibrate it precisely. We may not have a few minutes, Rise replied, pointing to the horizon. A wave of Vex soldiers was coming their way. Hundreds of them, moving as one. Form a defensive line, Rise ordered. The humans and Lemurians stood together around the crystal. The Lemurians raised their hands, channeling energy from the crystal to create barriers. The humans readied their weapons. As the Vex approached, Sela had a realization. The crystal responds to thought patterns, she told Dr. Wong. I can see how it works now. We need to synchronize the disruption signal with the Vex hive mind frequency. Can you do that? Dr. Wong asked. I think so, Sela said. But I'll need to get closer to them. I need to touch their thoughts with mine. Rise looked concerned. That sounds dangerous. It is, Sela admitted. But it might be our only chance. The first wave of Vex hit their defensive line. The battle was fierce. Humans fired their weapons. Awakened Lemurians pushed back with energy pulses. But the Vex kept coming. Sela made her decision. Cover me, she told Talon. I'm going to connect with the hive mind. Before anyone could stop her, she stepped forward, hands raised, her mind reaching out toward the approaching enemy. Sela stepped toward the approaching Vex, her hands glowing with energy from the great crystal. The battlefield seemed to slow around her as she focused. What is she doing? A human soldier asked. Something brave, Captain Rise answered, firing her weapon to keep the Vex away from Sela. Sela closed her eyes and reached out with her mind. The crystal amplified her thoughts, sending them toward the Vex hive mind. The sensation was overwhelming. Thousands of alien thoughts flooded into her consciousness. The device is ready, Dr. Wong called out. We just need the frequency. Talon watched his sister with worry. Her body was floating now, suspended in energy from the crystal. Sela, he called. Inside the hive mind, Sela searched for the central control signal. The Vex tried to push her out, but her newly awakened abilities gave her strength. There, she found it. The single frequency that connected all Vex soldiers. 2 to 7 9 to 4 3 to 1. She shouted, her voice sounding strange even to herself. That's the frequency. Dr. Wong quickly adjusted the device. Got it. Activating now. The great crystal pulsed with brilliant light. A wave of energy spread outward, invisible but powerful. It hit the first line of Vex soldiers, who suddenly stopped moving. Then the second line stopped. Then all of them. The Vex ships in the sky froze in place. For a moment, everyone held their breath. Then the Vex began to move again, but differently. They seemed confused, disconnected from each other. It worked. Lieutenant Tanaka shouted. The hive mind is disrupted. Without their connection, the Vex couldn't coordinate. Human ships easily outmaneuvered them. On the ground, the soldiers retreated in disorder. Sela collapsed, exhausted. Talon ran to catch her. Are you okay? She smiled weakly. Yes. I could see them. All of them. They're afraid of humans. That's why they attacked us first. They knew humans would defend others. The battle continued for another hour, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. Without their hive mind, The Vex couldn't fight effectively. By evening, the last Vex ships were retreating from Alteris IV. In the following days, help arrived from across the galaxy. Other species, inspired by the human stand, sent ships and supplies. Even the Galactic Concord officially recognized the threat the Vex posed. 1 year later, Sela stood in the newly rebuilt Crystal City. Captain Rice stood beside her. The last of the Vex have been pushed back beyond the outer systems, Rice said. They won't be threatening anyone for a long time. Because of humans, Sela said. Rice shook her head. Because we stood together. You were the ones who connected with their hive mind. We couldn't have done it without you. In the city center, a new monument was unveiled, a statue showing a human and a Lemurian standing side by side. The inscription read, "When we cried for help, only humans stepped up to defend us." Sela had completed her historical record of the events. It would be taught in schools across the galaxy. She looked out at the children playing in the square. Human children who had come with their families to help rebuild, playing alongside Lemurian children. "What do you think will happen next?" Rides asked. Sela smiled. "I think this is just the beginning. You taught us to defend others. We taught you the value of peace. Together, I think we might change the galaxy." As the three suns set over Alteris IV, two species looked to the stars not with fear, but with hope.